Hey, welcome to the Pharmacy Residency Podcast. Remember the Pharmacy Podcast Network. Right now is the lull before the storm. I always get kind of a little bit of a break in the number of letters of intent that I'm working on. And then after mid-year, it seems like that is the time that people think, oh, well, I should get started. And the reality is that you're going to be way behind. The people that I've been working with are already working really hard on articulating who they are. And I want to talk about this kind of speed dating concept as it comes to the ASHP Residency Showcase, because the one thing about making something free is that everybody's going to do it. So now you have this other problem where you have everyone coming in, so much so that now even on the ASHP website, they're like, well, P1s, 2s, and 3s, we really don't want you there. And we're not going to say you can't go, but we're saying that this is for people that are P4s or last year pharmacy students. And you kind of saw that coming, that if you're going to make it free to both sides, then everybody's going to try and participate. So what can you do to actually get something out of this? And I had a really good question from somebody who's already got a good relationship with the sites that they're going to apply to. And I've heard this actually a couple of times from a couple of different people. And I said, well, should I even go to Showcase? Am I just kind of being weird? Well, let me tell you a story. When I first went to get my job at the college, I went and I talked to the dean who was hiring, and there was going to be this time where students were going to get interested in the program, and this was back when I was doing pharm tech rather than chemistry and pharmacology. And so I wanted to see what that program was like, what the kind of students that I would have, how much interest was there. Was this going to be a job? Because this was during the crisis back in, I think, 08 or 09. And it was a full house. I was really excited about that, see a lot of people. But then there was another one, and I really wanted to go to that second one. And something told me that going to that second one was going to seem a little bit needy. And so if you are going to go, then what I recommend, and you already have a good relationship with these people, I recommend you just say hi. I recommend that you say, hey, I just wanted to take this opportunity to just say hi, to affirm that I'm very interested in your rotation, and that, I hope you're having a great day with this, And if that just seems kind of weird to you, then maybe you shouldn't go at all. Maybe you should just let the person talk to the other people and let them stumble over themselves. Because this is what's going to happen. There's going to be three kinds of dating. And actually, before I even get to that, let's talk about how long it takes to make a first impression. Okay, so the data show that the average is between 1/10 of a second and 15 seconds. So your first impression will happen right away. Whether you are trying to make that impression or not, they're going to judge your competence in that 15 seconds, and it's already going to be done. So if they're actually taking notes, which they may or may not, they are just looking to reject candidates. They are not looking to accept them. At no time during any of those sessions will a resident or RPD go, oh my gosh, I cannot believe you came to our booth. You absolutely have got to apply. Here's our number. Here's the little meeting that we're going to have for people after this event. You totally have to come. I cannot believe it's you. You know what they're really going to say? They're like, did you hear Tom Hanks? That was a really good speech. Or did you hear Anthony Fauci? That would be something that they'd be interested in talking about. But I assure you that they are not looking for more people to date. There are hundreds of people that are interested in them. And just imagine this at a speed dating event. You're at the table, and normally maybe a speed dating event has 15 people or something like that, 15 guys, 15 girls, and that even would probably be a lot. And you have a little mingle beforehand, and then you go through your speed dating, just talk to them for 30 seconds, and then, you mingle after with the people that you want to be with. The only thing that you're maybe hoping for on the side that you're coming in is that you can ask them is there a time after this, because this is kind of madness in the speed and the deadlines that you have, is there another time that they're going to have some time that you could talk to them one-on-one? And make sure that if they already have it posted on their website, that you're not being a knucklehead and they're saying, yeah, on our website, there are 3 times where you could have totally looked it up and seen that December 10th and 15th, we're going to have 2 sessions where you can talk to us. Did you have any other questions that weren't on the website? Okay, so that shows complete incompetence. What you want to do is the exact opposite, which is say, I saw blank on your website and I wanted to know more about this. I looked for it, but I didn't see information on. 1, it shows you're competent. You have looked on the website, you have shown an interest, and you are actually asking a genuine question that you can't answer from the website. But 2, you're also getting the answer to something that other people can't get answered or can't answer from the website, and you're giving yourself a little bit of an advantage, okay? But what I think, and although I'm generally a data-driven person, I really think that you want to do this as a rejection exercise. So when I went to ASHP and I just saw all the booths and everything like that, I could have easily taken a list of the programs and scratched them out. Like, oh, yeah, I just don't get a good feeling here. And you say, well, how could you possibly make that impression? Well, you can see by the posturing, you can see by the tone, hear by the tone, exactly how people feel about it. So there are going to be some sites that are like, oh, yeah, you don't have a president's position. Why are you even talking to me? I can't believe they don't filter people out for our website. Like, seriously, we're going to get 500 applications. You don't have a chance. Why are we even talking? Right? And you're going to get that sense very quickly from the person. And you're also going to get kind of a sense of what kind of person that site will accept. Is it a person that's very empathetic, that really loves to answer these questions? It's really a great conversationalist, somebody that you would really want to be in residency with, because they might be a PGY2 while you're a PGY1 or something like that, or they might be getting a job there, And so you want to ask something that absolutely has to do with them. Okay, so if you're going to ask a question, make sure that it has to do about the actual person to some extent, a lot more than the residency site. Because, does the site offer this? Does the site offer that? But how do you feel about your chances of getting a PGY2 right now? That is a great question. Because what it does, it says, okay, how does this person feel? And immediately you're going to know whether they even used the words quickly or not. They're going to be like, well, I started the application. I'm doing PPS, but I'm still a little nervous. Or they might say, oh, I feel really confident. I was going to do early decision and I did early decision. And, we're going through that process now. They asked us to go to ASHP before we, commit to that early decision process just to make sure. But I feel very confident that those of us are not only prepared for the next position, but have real opportunities with that position. So when you're doing this speed dating, get out of your head that it is this, okay, well, the residency, I've got to impress the residency with my credentials. It is absolutely a rejection exercise. On their side, they're trying to figure out, is there anybody that we can just get rid of off the list that is, let's just save ourselves the heartache and the headache. And then on your side, you also want to do the same thing. So I would recommend that if you look at the number of sites that you're going to try to talk to, I would double it. I would double it because what's going to happen is that in that first session, and I've heard this over and over again, where those people that have gone through the third session wish they could have that first session back. Because they're like, man, I didn't go to these places. and I really, really should have. And I didn't take the time to go over to these places, and now I really have no idea whether I would like them or not. So what I'm saying is that make that first session double what you would expect it to be. Just absolutely fill it up with anyone and everyone that you would possibly think would be a possible match. Because what you want to do is get really good at being part of this. And what you're going to find is that in the first session, you're going to be clumsy, and they're going to be clumsy, and there's going to be a lot of awkwardness. But when you get to the second session, you'll now be a little bit better. They'll be a little bit better. And you're going to find that you're asking better questions, and you're having better connections, and you're making better decisions about what kind of program. And then in the third one, you're going to be even better, and it's going to be very clear to you and very clear to them if you're a match. And that is so valuable to get that skill where now you can start looking at websites without talking to them and say, yeah, I really kind of overlooked this one, but this one looks like a really good one. Or one tip and trick that I love is a lot of times people will only apply to those academic medical centers and then get rejected, even though they were a great candidate, but they only applied to like the 200 applications to 500 application sites. What's really overlooked is a lot of the suburbs. So a lot of times a residency is named by its suburb. So I'll give you an example. Shady Grove was a hospital that was about 8 minutes from my childhood home. But what's really close to Shady Grove is downtown Washington, D.C. And what's 20 minutes north is Baltimore. And it is not named after something that says Washington, D.C. or Baltimore. It's named after a suburb. So as you're looking at some of these sites, start to really widen that geographic search and go, oh my gosh, this is right over the bridge to Cincinnati. Oh, this is really close to Gainesville. Oh, this is really close to, Orlando or something like that. So as you're doing this speed dating and you're getting better at these first impressions, which will be amazingly important as you do these video conference calls and everything, you're going to get a better job of figuring out which sites you really match to. Now, I've talked for over 12 minutes, and I haven't mentioned the word letter of intent. Well, I did it once, but I'm going to mention it right now. You are going to be so clear on what you are missing as you talk to those first couple. And please, please do not go to your first choices as your first entries in this madness. Because you are going to be clumsy, you are not going to feel confident. And those that have written their letters of intent have gone back and they're like, oh wow, these are the core rotations I really am interested in. And oh my gosh, this resident is going to be doing a PGY2 in this core rotation. That is a fantastic connection. Or on the opposite side, which is, I have some weaknesses, but you have some electives that I can shore up those weaknesses. So not only do you have the path to this PGY2, which is very specialized, but you also are going to make me a broad clinician. Okay. So to summarize this kind of madness on Thanksgiving morning, you are using this speed dating event to reject those sites, which you just don't feel good about from the impression that the resident or the residency director is given, because the immediate boss is going to be the number one thing that makes a site good or bad. Number two, you're going to let them reject you. You're going to be like, yeah, man, I didn't really connect with that guy. Maybe this isn't the place for me to go. And then start really looking backwards at the subjective things that really would have made that happen, and then the objective things that made it happen. You're like, man, why didn't I connect with that person? I really thought that was my best choice. It's just like when people go to an Ivy League school campus or a private, Hopkins in Baltimore or whatever, and they all this time they've kind of put it into this celebrity status. So once they get there, and you're like, wow, these people are not really friendly. Well, I really thought that I would get this, winning vibe when I got here, but I got the opposite. I got that these people are all firstborn children who care about themselves and are really not interested in me. And that's not to say all firstborn children are like that, but I'm just saying there are a lot of alphas at the elite schools. And then you realize that you were looking for community and you were looking for a group of people to hang out with. And this just might not be it, because the people that you're supposed to be hanging out with are too busy competing with you to be your friend. Whereas you go to a state school and you end up in the honors program within that state school, and you're like, wow, this is kind of a cool niche within a larger thing, and I have so many more opportunities. So go in there with an open mind, but get ready to, strike those people out with the green pen and like, hey, I thought you guys were cool, but this is not what I was looking for. And then start exploring. I didn't really think I would like this, but I'd really like to talk to you guys a little bit more. I really, really feel like I can have a connection with you. And believe it or not, that will happen in 7 to 15 seconds. It might even happen in less. And so if you're disappointed by the amount of time that you're going to have and this and that, I think you're going to be disappointed because your goal might have been to tell them all about yourself. Or they're going to try to tell you all about themselves, and that's not the goal. The goal is to use your intuition to reject and to accept rejection. And to, at the end of this whole thing, you're like, okay, these were the ones that I thought were a lock. And now I have some that are questionable and some that are definitely a no. And these were a maybe. And now these are the no. And these are the, yeah, I'd really like to learn more. And then these are the ones I never thought of, but I'm absolutely going to, follow up with these guys. And what's going to happen is that you're going to have a much higher chance of matching. Because instead of just going from, okay, well, they're an ambulatory care site and they have ambulatory care with geriatrics and there's also a psych elective, it's going to be like, not only that, but I just really feel at home there. And this might happen as somebody from, the panhandle of Florida talks to somebody from Mississippi. That's the deep South. Y'all are going to get along just fine. Or someone from Boston, gets along with somebody from New York and they're like, we might differ in, teams that we like, but we can get along. I feel very comfortable around you, or you're just in California and you're like, it's chill. It's cool. Hey, you apply, you don't apply, it's cool, whatever you want to do, whatever. And yeah, I'm doing some stereotypes there, but I think if I were to pick one word, go with your intuition when it comes to speed dating in the Residency Showcase. All right, well, if you want help with your letter of intent, and I finally got to that, just email me at tonythepharmacist@gmail.com to talk more to me if you need more talk about it, or go to residency.teachable.com/P/extreme LOI, and I will help you one-on-one with up to 2 of your letters. And, I get this asked all the time. Get out of that East Coast accent. I get asked all the time, how many revisions do I get? Well, the first thing is that 90% of the people that I've worked with have not asked for one. And then of those 10%, they've asked for one. And then even a smaller number of that has asked for 2 revisions. And I'll do up to 2 revisions per, those 2, each of those 2. But I just love the emails that I get back, like that's what I was trying to say. That's exactly what I was trying to say. And it's just so satisfying to have that feeling. And yeah, it's satisfying when they email me back, oh my gosh, I got 7 interviews, I got 9 interviews, whatever it is. But the satisfaction really comes from, I know now that I have expressed in words what I wanted to, and that it will not be because of the letter of intent that, I don't get an interview. It'll be, something else, like a recommender that a toxic recommender that I didn't realize was a toxic recommender, or something like that. So anyway, good luck. Happy Thanksgiving. And I will probably talk to you guys next week, talk to you a little bit about the showcase as we get there. And do know that there are a couple webinars to help you out with that. But please, start off with those sites that you're kind of interested in, maybe, but the technology will take some time, and you got to put your intuition hat on.